Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talented. How many people do you know highly talented, but they are not successful? Genius? Wow. How many genius do you know in the world that they cannot even afford their lunch? Education? How many doctors do you know that they cannot even get a job? So, persistent and determinations are unbeatable. Success cannot be maintained unless you have a clear Gaia. I'm sorry, I don't know the right English for that. But the only translation for it is called the end. Gaia and goals. You must have your goals. Usually people have broke goals into 6 goals. And I would like everybody in this room to set 6 goals for him. A career goal, a personal relationship goal, a recreation goal, a personal growth goals, and a material goal, and a social goals. Write them down and then give them a name and give them a pictures. And when you get that pictures, you go ahead and put it everywhere. Put it in your mobile. And I will share a secret with you. Here is my goals. It's a flying falcon. What does falcon mean? It is a exclusive. Try to be independent. What does flying mean? Flying, you are healthy and independent. What does blue mean? Blue is the sky, which is mean closer to God. I will have a very hard time in this session because I'm trying to convince President Rawlings not to talk about the politics, but what I want him really to talk about is when he was 18 years old, when he was 10 years old, what was in his head? How did he become Rawlings today? We're not interested to know about Mr. Rawlings today. What I'm interested in to know about how did he come up to that road? What obstacle? How did he face it? How did he manage it? I leave the floor to Mr. President Rawlings, and I apologize for taking the microphone in front of him.
Thank you very much. I have quite a bit to talk about as well, but just for the record, I think we ought to get this one page out of the way for the formality, and then I'll share my inner thoughts with you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I must admit this conference has been a refreshing one in terms of the quality of input and the variety of issues that have been discussed. Political, social, and economic matters have all received deep and insightful discourse in a very casual atmosphere. I speak on the quality of the conference so far because it should serve as an inspiration to the younger generation who are today being inducted into the forum. The task of this unique community is significant and has the potential of changing the face of international cooperation if enough tenacity of purpose and a sense of character and a sense of mission is shown. The African continent has been a victim of international economic... Will you translate it? Yes, thank you. The African continent has been a victim of international economic imbalance, and South-South cooperation in its varied forms has sought to bridge that gap and switch the balance of power into a more equitable one. Africa and South American cooperation has brought significant economic and social development to both regions despite the challenges of funding, and I'm confident that the new Arab-African cooperation will bear fruit at an even more rapid pace. Ladies and gentlemen, I expect to see a progressive approach to this new political and economic challenge, but we cannot afford to be complacent. We live in an unfair world where the stronger states will do all in their power to maintain the status quo. To succeed and carve the path of a new world order, we all have to be, and especially you, be original in your thinking, innovative, bold in your actions, and united in your approach. Many who have led this path have failed. Some of us, as leaders of yesterday and today, have made both good and bad choices. On hindsight, we could have pulled resources and showed, and showed more commitment to enhance South-South cooperation decades ago. Today, you have the opportunity, you have the opportunity as more determined leaders to carve a path that will set the pace for a new world economic order. It may seem ambitious and an impossible task, but commitment is key to its success, and you cannot afford to repeat our mistakes. I enjoin you all and to take all advice and suggestions here seriously and use this avenue created by the Crans-Montana Forum to positively impact on the human, social, political, and economic development of these two regions. Thank you and good luck. Ladies and gentlemen, the beauty about youth or being young is pretty much like saying you have nothing to lose and all to gain. I've been young before, and nothing seemed almost inconquerable to me. By the time you get to this age, you begin to wish and to pray and to hope. But when you're young, you have a strong spirit of determination that you can achieve, you can do, a can-do type of spirit. If you let it pass, I'm afraid you're going to lose out. When I was young, I didn't think consciously around 15, I would say. I didn't think the standards of this, the social standards, the environment, was high or good enough for me. And I did not allow it to subordinate me or to conform to it. I don't want to sound arrogant, but the point is that it was not good enough for me, period, and I was going to do better than it. I'm not saying that I ended up doing better in sports than my colleagues or academically, etc., but there was a passion and an intensity inside of me. But what I found even more interesting was my passion for justice was just unquenchable. I could tell you so many very different stories, but I think I might probably limit those for another occasion. I'm sorry about these tape recordings here. But, ladies and gentlemen, there are times when we have no choice but to defy. In the Bible, it says that our parents, your mother and your father, are your gods on earth. I think there's a passage in the Bible like that. And I appreciate that very much. But I think there's a time when you have to examine the circumstances, when you have to defy, what your parents are saying. I'm not saying that we do so foolishly. I mean, you must reason it out. And I do recall when I'd wanted to fly from as early an age as 6 years old, and in a compound house, somebody asked, what would you like to do when you grow up? And I said, I'd like to be a pilot. And she banged me so hard on the back and said, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a scientist type of thing. When I left school, that was the minimum level I required to join the Air Force. I thought I needed her permission. She wouldn't allow, so I bummed around for about a year and then joined the Air Force. And I remember every time on the parade ground I saw a police car approaching the parade ground, I was thinking they were coming to collect me. I passed out with very high-flying colors, etc. But somewhere down the line, I could still not get any satisfaction. Something just wasn't satisfying me. And then I wanted to leave the forces to go and be a priest. Yes. Oh, you're looking surprised, huh? But somewhere down the line, I realized that no. my fight against injustice can best be done from the armed forces. Don't take everything I say literally, but the point is that in reasoning things out philosophically, the Bible, etc., I realized that violence was a necessary factor of life when used appropriately. After all, Jesus Christ was one of the first to also use violence. When people were trading in his father's church, he went and took the whip and whipped people out, didn't he? That was you don't know that? It's in the Bible. When people were messing around in his father's temple. But